Is this Mel?
Yes.
All right, well, let me do the official introduction, ladies and gentlemen. We are very excited to welcome our first guest this evening. He is a Hollywood movie tough guy, if you will, but probably one of the sweetest guys you'll meet in person. We're very excited to welcome actor Mel Novak to the show. You're on the air with Terry and Tiffany. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always a blessing.
You know, I wanted to ask you, first of all, we recently had a tragedy. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Robert Czar.
Yes.
Yeah, we just had a guest on a couple weeks ago talking about that, and people still very interested. In fact, that was like our most popular show ever listened to ever, talking about him. I know that you got a movie you were working on with him, with Samurai Cop 2. People, I'd just like to ask you right out front before we get into your career, what is the status of that now? I mean, how much is filmed?
Oh, well, Samurai Cop, they're in editing right now,
okay.
And they have like 2 pickup days left. And it's going to be really, really a good film. It's going to be distributed in theaters, and you know, it was great for me to be involved in it. And you know, Gregory Hatamaka was the producer, director, and writer. So it's going to be definitely out, and he's been working very hard in the editing room. And like I say, there's maybe 1 or 2 pickup days, which usually you have on a film.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm looking forward to it. In fact, I have 1 big scene left, and that's going to be exciting.
Well, it's always good that something was finished. I mean, it's so sad when not enough has been done. Or, I mean, you actually had a situation kind of like that yourself, to where you were in one of the legendary Bruce Lee films, and because of Bruce's death, wasn't finished, right?
Yeah, they had. I was over there for 7 weeks, and that was sure a tragedy. And also his son Brandon, who was super nice kid, and very good in karate, very good in acting. And you know, tragedy there's no easy way for any tragedy, and he was. There'll never be another Bruce Lee, that's for sure. He was the best ever, in my opinion.
Well, let's talk a little bit, Mel, about how you got started in the film industry, because I understand when you were in high school, you were a very successful athlete, and you were sought after as an athlete by many colleges. So what ended up happening to where you went down the acting road versus continuing being a professional athlete?
Well, when I got out of high school, I had 60 scholarships, football scholarships, major universities all over the country.
Wow.
And I had scholarships in basketball and track. But I signed a pro baseball contract with Pittsburgh Pirates, and I never got hurt in football. I played offense and defense, and I had a massive rotator cuff tear. And when they operated it, they butchered me because I was a cripple for 5 years.
Mm.
And that doctor said I'd be crippled for the rest of my life, and that was brutal for an 18-and-a-half-year-old kid. And you talk to any counselor, they said 99% will turn to drugs or alcohol. Yet I never did drugs. I never drank in my life, and it was difficult. So I came to California, and I was working in an insurance company, and there was a gal that said, you look great in clothes. She said, my cousin is a modeling agent. Would you like to meet her? I said, yeah. So I started modeling, and then they sent me to an acting school, and this is how I really got involved in it, because I really didn't come to California to be an actor, which most people do when they come out.
Mm-hmm.
And so that I had some really good acting schools, Corey Allen, Estelle Harmon, and Screen Actors Studio with Stacey Harris, Michael Pate, that where I really learned about camera technique, cold reading, and that's when things started to happen. My first big role in a movie was Black Belt Jones.
That's a good one to start with.
Yeah, wow. That was, they made a lot of, I was one of the top money makers that year, and then the director was Robert Klaus, and I did all my own fights and stunts because I hung out with the stuntmen, and then I had a friend, Pat Johnson, who's done major movies where he was a stunt coordinator. He taught me karate and stuff, but I was like the villain. So Robert Klaus, after the picture was over, he told me, he said, we're going to finish Bruce Lee's picture, and I want to take you with me. Well, Raymond Chow wanted a big name, executive producer, and Andre Morgan, a producer, wanted a big name, but Klaus insisted because he really liked my work. In fact, after the first day of shooting, they look at the dailies every morning before shooting starts, and so someone said, Mel Novak, yo, producer and director want to see you. And I says, why? So I don't know. So I went in and I said, did I do something wrong? They says, no, you did everything right.
Oh.
The guy with you can't handle dialogue. We want to know if we could give you a lot of his dialogue. He says, give me all the dialogue you want. He ended up with a tremendous role in that movie. And I did the reading with Robert Klaus, the director, and I came there with my gangster suit and a gangster hat. And right at the end, the line was, look at him, he's sweating just like a pig. So I grabbed him by his shirt and dragged him. I says, look at him. He's sweating just like a pig. And I spit on him. And when I spit on him, he ridged and says, okay, that was very good.
Yeah.
And all the way home, I'm beating myself up. What the hell's the matter with you? And I pulled in a driveway, and the phone's ringing. I ran in, and it was Oscar Williams. He was the writer and the casting. He's laughing. He says, man, he loved you. You got the part.
Wow. I've always wondered if somebody that played a particular niche role. I love the story Margaret Hamilton from The Wizard of Oz told when they said, well, you got a part. She's like, oh, what am I going to be? They said, you're going to be the witch because you look like a witch.
That's the worst thing.
Is it really a compliment to you, or how does a guy feel? I mean, you're a good-looking guy, aside from the fact you look like a tough guy or look like a gangster. How does it feel to be told, well, you look like a villain, you look like a bad guy, you look like a... Yeah, how does that feel?
I met Bruce Lee when he was doing Green Hornet. And he looked at me, he smiled, and he had his hands crossed, and he says, you look like a villain. Little did he know that I was going to play Stick the Assassin in the Game of Death. But it's amazing. But I love playing villains. My mother used to say, Mel, honey, why do you play those bad people? I said, Mom, I got a villain's face. I forget what movie it was. The director didn't want me to smile. I says, why? I got my teeth straightened with braces. He says, Mel, when you smile, your face lights up. When you don't smile, you're ominous. So, but it's, in fact, I'm starting Monday on Syndicate Smasher, and I play this mercenary. I'm shooting everybody in that one.
Well, I wanted to ask you something, Mel. I read something interesting online, and you can tell me if this is true or not, because not necessarily everything you read is online is true. But I read online that you have specific criteria for the roles that you'll take, such as if you're playing a villain, you won't take the role unless the villain gets his comeuppance or something happens to where the bad is put right in a film. Is that true?
Well, yes. I won't use God's name in vain. I had 10 throat surgeries in 10 years, from 18 to 28. Couldn't talk for 7 weeks at a time. And I remember there was a singer named Roy Hamilton that he had the same thing, and he died. He sang "You'll Never Walk Alone," one of the greatest versions I've ever heard. And it's thing. I raised my 2 daughters, and I wouldn't do nudity because I didn't want them. In high school, how kids are. They say, hey, I saw your dad naked.
Right.
So there were things I wouldn't do, and I didn't care. I lost roles. There was a really great role of I like to play gangsters. I get to dress up in my custom suit and the gangster hats and get to shoot people and beat them up. But you don't have to go to jail. Don't take your makeup off. So I went to pick my script up, and this producer says, "Oh, we added this scene. You're going to be in a hot tub with that gal over." She was a 12, not a 10. Believe me, I'm not a prude. I'm not doing no friggin' nude scene. And I said, you cut all this stuff I told you. I don't use God's name in vain. It's a miracle I'm even talking. And by the time I got home, they said, "Oh, sorry, we had a change in casting." Now, I almost turned into a villain. I was going to go down and beat play Star Spangled Banner on that guy's head, because they fired me, didn't give me a chance. But that's okay. This is a choice. We all have choices, and I wouldn't do anything to embarrass my daughters, and they get a kick out of me playing villain because they know how I am in real life. That's one of the greatest things I ever did, was have that time with them, be there. Because I go into prisons and in juvenile and women's prison, and you see all those people that was rejected, abandoned, and betrayed by their families, and it's horrible.
It is.
So, yes, that's true.
Wow,
that's true.
I've
died 19 times.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. It's really good to see that they're still making those kind of films. Because there really was what I call a heyday for those films. So when they were so popular at the drive-in, I just happen to think, I don't know what you think about this crazy idea that's come in my head. If you think about Jim Kelly, who of course was with in Black Belt Jones, didn't the martial arts films kind of start out as being more Asian, and then it became blaxploitation? Do you think it might have been because of his breakout as a star?
Oh yeah. Jim had never really did anything of. They needed a black guy for Enter the Dragon, and it was perfect. Good-looking guy. He did martial arts, and Black Belt Jones was his picture, and that it went from there. Then it went all over the world for martial arts. They realized the money that people were paying to see these pictures. Mm-hmm. But it all started. You're right, in Asia, and then the black exploitation. Films, and they were smart. They knew, because I know Warner Brothers made a ton of money on Black Belt Jones.
Oh yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you, Mel, about somebody that you worked with in 2 films who we absolutely adore, and I wanted to know what it was like knowing him as a person and working with him as an actor. And that was in Black Belt Jones, and also in Truck Turner. You worked with Scatman Crothers.
Oh, I love him.
Oh, Scatman, I loved him. We'd sit down and talk. He gets that big smile, and he says, "You cool, Brother Mel." he knew that I had a Skid Row prison ministry, and that really affected him. And he says, you're not like some of these Hollywood actors who think, they're hot stuff. He says, and I liked it, but I really liked Scatman. He was cool.
He was definitely one of 2 that you worked with that had a certain way of using the English language. Unfortunately, I couldn't understand Bruce Lee too much. I guess you had a good time and you understood him fine, but I could never understand Bruce Lee whenever he talked. I don't know. Very, very broken English. But, man, to work with the people...
You know what? He was so good with what he did.
Yeah.
It didn't matter, because, I never had a problem understanding him, and... he just had that way of speaking, but you got some other ones who, couldn't even talk. I mean, my goodness.
I think if you talk about somebody that's super cool, I think probably, of course, all these other people were probably bigger legends maybe in acting, but in music, but also acting. Isaac Hayes. Mm-hmm. Oh man.
Oh, Isaac, man, he had that deep voice. Isaac. I liked Isaac. He was another cool guy, and I just I always got along good with people, because and I'd be on time and then my lines, and then they find out what you do in your real life, and it really affects them.
Right.
And like Sonny Barnes on Black Belt Jones, and he was the one with the big muscles and stuff, and he passed away. Jim Kelly passed away. A lot of people just, and that guy that was that looked spitting image of Bruce Lee in A Game of Death.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He was Korean. He passed away. Like him and Jim Kelly both had that stomach cancer, and and Yul Brynner. I had a great time working with him. He was terrific, but he smoked so much. He had like 5 packs a day, then he cut down to 3. And you remember the commercial he did?
Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
When you see this commercial, I will be dead because of lung cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Smoking kills. Mm-hmm. One day he got mad at me. I said, because after every scene, it'd light up. I says, "Yo, how much do you smoke?" "I'm doing good. I'm down to 3 packs a day. I used to smoke 5." And but like I say, everything is choices. It just
Well, let me ask you this, because...
Well, wait, I wanted to ask real quick
sure.
about, in talking about Yul Brynner, and working directly with him. I heard a story that there was something possibly that happened during The Ultimate Warrior where Yul Brynner was almost put on fire.
Well, yeah, we had, back when I did the fight scene with him, to the death, I had a knife and a lit torch. And, when I was going at him, he was like 1, 2, 3, 1, like the King and I.
Mm-hmm.
And then Robert Klaus directed that too, and he said, "Come on, Mel, doesn't look like you won him." And Yul Brynner says, "Yeah, come on." And so I said, "Can we do it right away?" And I was aiming for his chin, because I got embarrassed. I don't like to get embarrassed. And it was like an accident there, but he did not get burned. And after I did that, the second toughest stunt in the whole movie, he was up there going, "Bravo, bravo." I said, "Bravo, my butt, get me out of this hole." I had to fall 6 feet. So that meant I was falling 12 feet 2 inches, because I'm 6'2". Then they had a 2 by 2 foot square of balsa wood. It was all sand there, and my mark was a little pebble. I had to go in head first with the lit torch, the last second turn, and then you go down another 6 feet where there were concrete slabs along the side, and then they had 3 cameras going, and then the 2 producers, Weintraub and Heller, were getting on Klaus because he was getting behind. He comes over to me and says, "Mel, don't F this up." I said, "Thanks a lot." I didn't need no pressure for this. And you know what? It came out. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Well, were you ever worried? I mean, and knowing that you do a lot of your own stunts and you've done all this amazing, physical work, but here, just out of high school, you had such a major health issue and you were crippled, as you mentioned, for a few years. Were you ever concerned with getting back involved in so much physicality?
Well, you might be concerned along this line. Let me add a part B to that. Is I found being on sets, a lot of times the directors will forget what you're there for, and you're there for an actor, and all of a sudden you're doing stunt work you're not supposed to be doing, and a lot of times their pride will say, "Yeah, I'll do it," or whatever. I mean, was there times that, not only along with my daughter's question, but you just wasn't feeling up to something, but like they know you're this big tough guy, so you can do this.
Yeah, well, they know. I had the reputation. See, that helped the directors in the editing room. They didn't have to call cut and get someone to come in and be a double.
Mm-hmm.
So that was always like Klaus loved it. I mean, do you know when I did that fight in the Game of Death from 8 at night till 8 in the morning in the rain, and the cinematographer from London came to me a day after, and he said, "I want to tell you something." He says, "When I drove back to the hotel after you did that 12-hour fight scene, and he said, he called Klaus, he said, the governor, the director. He said to me, "I'm so glad I brought Mel. He gave me more than I even hoped for." And that made me feel good because that was a tough night. But no, I'd never, to answer your question, no, I never worried or had anxiety because I was an athlete. I was a really good athlete, and I learned I would hang out with the stunt people, just like in Sort of Heaven. I don't know if you've seen that. It's a karate movie.
Mm-hmm. No, I didn't.
Did Joe send you? Oh, I thought maybe Joe sent you that. Joe Williamson sent you that DVD.
That one I probably didn't get to yet.
Yeah, the director, I don't know what happened. He didn't show up. And now we got this big scene where I got these karate guys there, and I was supposed to do dialogue and throw them around. So Lou Casamassa had his school there, and I told him, I says, "Lou, we got to work something out." And I worked this thing out where I was throwing those guys around over, like advanced commando techniques, and here comes the director, and I told him, "Don't ever do that. This is my ass up there on the film."
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that is very unprofessional. So he apologized. He says, "Okay, so what did you work out?" And I showed him. He says, "Man, he saved my butt. What I had in mind wasn't even as good as this." So, but I never had anxiety or worry or whatever I was going to do. But I was good in the fights. Usually the villain gets beat up anyway.
Right.
And the reacting. But yeah, that's a good question. Nobody ever asked that one before.
We try. It's not easy to come up with something nobody's ever asked before.
Yeah.
One of the people that you worked with, and if I could have an interview right now, I'd love to have him on, not just because of what happened to him, which was unfortunate, but because of some of the other things he's done in the past. And that is, you got to work with Robert Blake. And I'm a Little Rascals fan as well as a Beretta fan. And the unfortunate
played Little Beaver too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Old Time Radio. We play those episodes on here in the TV thing. But
yeah. Remember with Bogart played in that movie where they were getting gold. What was that?
I know the film you're talking about. I can't think of the name right.
The what?
I know what you're talking about, but the name's just not there on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah. Well, he played the little kid.
Yes.
Who sold Bogart that ticket where he won a little raffle there. It's right on the tip of my tongue. It was a great movie, really a great movie, where they were up and the gold all when the wind just blew it all away when they got killed. Treasure.
Sierra Madre.
Sierra Madre.
There we go. Got it.
Yeah, that's Robert Blake there.
But anyway,
I remember I worked with him, and he was like controlling. And there's a director, but he was calling all the shots.
Yeah, I understand he was a little hard to deal with, and I was wondering if you possibly had a chance to talk to him once the court trial came up and everything.
No, I was looking for him when he got arrested, but I couldn't get a hold of him because I go to county jail, which L.A. County Jail, which is incidentally is the worst jail in the country.
Yeah.
Cook County, Chicago, was 20 years and no more. Biggest jail in the world, got 21,000, three facilities, and there were some other ones that I ministered to there. A couple of them got screwed up on cocaine and to mess around with that, to lose your time and freedom, and they were all really good work. They're good actors. The only one didn't want to Downey. He didn't want any.
Robert Downey. Yeah, that sounds correct. Absolutely. Now, I was thinking with Robert Blake, whether it's true or not, and we won't pass judgment here except to say what I knew about the woman. I don't know if I would have considered it myself, but giving that, I think a lot of people automatically thought he was guilty just because of the career of the type of roles he played. So in that way, that can turn around on you too.
Yeah, but I think there was other things that happened with the gun and whatnot that people just believed, not because of the roles he used to play, but he was hard to get along with, and some people think they can do what they want to do, and they're going to get away with it, and they don't.
Right. Well, next week, if you can help me out here, because you really can help me out here.
No, wait. Let me ask Mel this question. Because, Mel, next week, our guest on the show is Sybil Danning, and Terry is afraid of her.
Sybil, yeah.
Terry's
Sybil
terrified of her.
Now, when we did that movie together, the director, I had a really incredible role, and he said, I have these two girls. Which one do you think would be best to work with you? And I said, yeah, Sybil Danning and Miss Austria. So, yeah, that worked out great, and I have to get back to take her to lunch or dinner or something, because I haven't seen her in a long time.
Well, see, it would be good this week if you could take her to lunch, because you tell her, okay, you're going to be talking to my good friend Terry on Saturday, and he's a really good guy, and please treat him well, because frankly, I'm shaking in my boots, because I keep thinking of Ilsa.
No, she'd be easy to interview. She's very good.
You made my day. I feel so much better. Wow.
Now, what about? I want to talk a little bit about you ministering and stuff to the different prisons. And I kind of a two-part question. One, how come you decided to minister to prisons and some of the downtrodden areas of Los Angeles versus having a main church that you minister at frequently? And also the second part of that, in knowing that you're also an actor and you have this great career behind you, has there been times when you've gone to witness or to minister to people and they've recognized you from films and talked to you on that vein?
Yeah, actually it started at the Union Rescue Mission 33 years ago, this Easter. I was invited there as a celebrity guest at the sunrise Easter service 33 years ago. And I had already had miracles in my life, with the throat and different other things. And so I was just talking to about 25 street people, and they recognized me from the movies and stuff. And so the CEO was watching. I didn't even know. And he said, that was amazing. They normally don't listen to anybody. So I started doing service there, then the L.A. mission, and then the Fred Jordan mission. And then one of the guys in the spiritual growth program, Mike, said to me, I just got out of L.A. County Jail. I'm going to call the chaplain. He's a Bruce Lee fanatic. Well, that's how I got to start in the prisons, like L.A. County Jail. Then we went to Rahway, New Jersey, which is a real level 4 nasty penitentiary. Level 4 is in New York and Pennsylvania. And it opened the doors, because I've done all these movies. And some, like when I went to Walla Walla Penitentiary in level 4 in Washington, first time I went there, the night before, they saw The Ultimate Warrior. Mm-hmm. And then the next year I went up there, they saw The Game of Death. So that just keeps opening things up. And like last night at the county jail, you got some hardcore people there, and they made some bad choices. And then what I do is I'll do like an hour and a half message, and then I'll have a half hour of questions. And a lot of them will ask about the movies and about Bruce Lee and things like that. But I should have died 6 times in my life. Now remember, I never did drugs or alcohol. I've had 27 surgeries. I've been crippled for 5 years from pro ball. I live with brutal pain a third of my life. I've been through a lot of stuff, so I'm led to go to minister to the, like you said, downtrodden, broken people who've been rejected, abandoned, betrayed, abused, and it's very effective.
I mean, one of the most amazing things I read, Mel, was that, and this probably also inspired you, but you had prostate cancer for 7 years, and it was cured without chemo, without radiation. It was cured.
Yeah, I would not. And they wanted to take it out. They take it out. You're a eunuch. So, and I saw what chemo did to my mother and other people. And, if somebody's taking chemo, I support them. I'll pray for them. But you could put a machine gun in my mouth, I would never take it. And my daughters know that. I have 2 daughters that I raised. They know. But that was another miracle. And up at Pelican Bay, it's the worst penitentiary in the country. It's if you ever look at Lockup, you'll see some of the riots they had there. I've been there 9 times, and you had these 5 lifers who had 100 years, 200 years. They'll never ever get out, and they prayed for me every day. And when the chaplain Lou told them, "I don't have it anymore," they put their hands up in the air, praise the Lord. And that was a real effective message to that whole place, because it's a dark, these places I go, it's really dark.
Mm-hmm.
There's no deputies in there when I'm doing a service. I have to sign a paper if I'm taking hostage. They don't make deals. And we had last year, in 12 days, we had 2 stabbings inside the church service.
Mm.
So I had a service 3 days later, and I told them I got really an encouraging message, because people need encouragement no matter where you go. And I told them, I said, I know y'all heard about the stabbing, so I just want to express something to y'all. If any of you come at me with a shank, I'm going to take your eye out, then I'm going to repent.
Well, that's kind of what
Nobody said boo.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was wondering, because as silly as it sounds, a lot of times, people have difficulty sometimes separating an actor from their characters and the person versus who they play. And I was thinking maybe these people relate more to you because they see you as the heavy in these films. They see you as the bad guy. Do you think that makes them open up to you more?
Yeah, in their mindset, I'm one of them.
Right.
And there was in Texas. Good thing that I had as he's coming to walk, and he had his sleeves, his arm underneath his sleeves.
Mm-hmm.
I sensed he had something there, so I stood sideways because you're not a good target. And I said to him, "Don't even think about it, bro." And all at once here comes the deputy, and he says, "What's going on?" I said, "You need to check under his sleeve." Sure enough, he had a knife, and they says, "Well, no, I never killed a celebrity before."
Wow.
So,
wow.
But people, there's naysayers out there, and if I could just be, to use a bad word, the devil's advocate for just a second, and this is certainly not me, because I believe God works in wonderful ways in the fact that He knows who He's choosing, and in choosing people like you are like one of them, and they can relate to you. What about some of your diehard? I know there's different sections of religion, especially Southern Baptists, for instance, don't even want you to watch TV, let alone movies, who would definitely have something to say about you preaching, knowing the kind of movies you're in. Now, while your characters might be a little bit more moral than others, have you had criticism from any church group saying, well, you're in these movies, and these movies influence people to be bad?
Yes. You got a spirit of religion and a spirit of legalism. And like some of them don't want to let their women put makeup on or this or that, and that's ridiculous. I have in my left ear, I have a cross, a diamond cross, and my daughters wanted me to have I had it for years, and I went to this church and they were doing a fundraiser. And I didn't even, because I don't get paid in Skid Row prison ministry. In churches, you get a love offering. So they gave me a love offering. I said, here, I gave it back to them for their fundraiser. Mm. And I find out 3 days later, that someone they really love, because I use a lot of scripture. They call me Machine Gun. And they said, yeah, but he had an earring.
Oh.
So this is, you're right. And also, I've heard, well, what kind of Christian is he? The movies he's played.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's bad people in the world. I minister to them in prisons all the time. And I go in there for a purpose. And the people that usually criticize, they don't do anything for the Lord. Nothing.
Exactly.
But they like to criticize. And I'm going to keep playing these kind of roles because I enjoy them. I die in the end. But this is how it is with people. A lot of people, they have a critical spirit. No matter what somebody's doing or who they are or what they are, they have to rip them.
Right.
And that's an insecure person. So, to be honest with you, 25, 30 years ago, it bothered me. Now I don't care. Say what you want. I know what I'm doing. I know what I did. I encourage people on the set. I've helped people who were really struggling, and so if somebody wants to just say, Mel Novak is this, Mel Novak is that, well, God bless you. That's all I tell them.
Mel, we have a couple questions from the audience that I wanted to share with you really quick before we wrap up. One question, can you please ask Mel what it was like working in capital punishment with David Carradine, and did David really know the art of karate?
We've heard both. We had some people say he did, some people said he didn't know.
Yeah, he did. He was good at what he did. He wasn't Bruce Lee, but he was good enough to be effective, and that's the main thing. And I felt really bad that he died. And I'm going to tell you something. David Carradine was not someone to commit suicide. He was supposed to sign a 3-picture deal over there, and for some reason he decided not to. And I think they killed him.
Yeah.
I really believe. You cannot hang yourself if your hands are tied behind you very tightly and your feet are tied. How are you going to do that?
Yeah.
And it was hushed over. I just felt so bad because I liked David. He was a cool guy. Yeah, he did drugs, but so did a zillion other people. But I never judged him or criticized him. And but I felt bad how he died.
Yeah, definitely.
That's just terrible.
I mean, I know you also worked with his dad, John, too.
Yeah. What? It was unbelievable, that poor guy's hands. He had that arthritis.
Mm-hmm.
And like James Coburn,
yes,
the hands were just curled up.
It was so bad, I was surprised, because a good friend of mine is Fred Owen Ray. And we had Fred here, and Fred was a good friend of David Carradine's. And David lived right across the street from Fred Owen Ray. And they had part of the visitation or whatever, they had John Carradine's coffin at David Carradine's house. And Fred went over to visit David at the house and to see John. And David pulled up the lid, and I guess they had cut off his legs and his arms from the wrist down to send into research because of the arthritis. Dear. Yeah, I didn't even know that. Wow.
I didn't know that either. But I remember James Coburn was bedridden 2 years, and this doctor gave him mega doses of MSM. And I tell you, he was able to do movies after that.
Yeah, let me tell you, there was no movies like those Flint movies. Didn't like Flint?
Oh, yeah.
And then I
liked those. I love those movies.
I love the Dean Martin character, too. Yes.
When Roger Moore left James Bond, I was to do this movie in Europe, and I was going to be an international playboy who was a Grand Prix racer, but I was a spy. Mm-hmm. And I died on doing a fight on one of those trams. And the producers really liked me. The wife said to her husband, Mel would be perfect for the next James Bond. They were personal friends with Cubby Broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, when we start the picture, bring your tuxedo, we'll fly you up there to meet him. And he also saw some of my work. They told him about, well, this is what happened. The funding fell out. They broke up. I never got to meet Cubby Broccoli, and they hired Timothy Dalton. So that was my chance to play Bond, James Bond.
And you know what? While the genre that's also your genre is still very active, when I talk about heyday, the ones that really get the high profile now are the James Bond films, which there's many other good films out there. And you see like a Schwarzenegger once in a while. To me, that's not the golden heyday. I mean,
right.
You just don't. It isn't like it was, and it was fun when we had Chuck Norris and we had Bruce Lee and we had all those people. Do you miss those days? I know you're still doing it, but it's a little different now. It's got to be. Do you miss the old days?
Yeah. Well, Right now, I'm working on a film with Leo Fong. You know, he taught Bruce Lee, and Leo's been around for years. It's called Runaway Killer. In fact, I'm working on Syndicate Smasher Monday, Wednesday, and then Thursday I got 3 scenes I got to do for Runaway Killer, and then we're not going to do the big scene where the finale, all the shootout and everything. So, and Leo got a couple other karate movies that are going to come out. Yeah, those were great. You know, it's always fun. There's a picture called Kill Factor, and we had the thing finished, but the guy from England, this karate guy, he goes and he puts all around internet and everything that he produced, directed, wrote, and starred in this picture. Well, that ticked Leo off, so Leo took him all the way out of the picture. So now we have half a picture. I'm playing this police chief, but I'm the serial killer. In fact, one of the girls I killed, I told her, I said, just relax now, you're dead. I'm gonna kiss you. So I kissed her, and at least she played dead good.
Well, I'm just glad to hear you're working, because man, when you're doing more than one movie at once,
you have 8 projects listed as coming up.
Yeah, my 3rd movie starting Monday this year, and then I have 3 others I'm signed for.
Wow.
There's at the end of November, the producer-director from Samurai Cop wants me to play a starring role in November. What the heck's the name of it? But then there's 2 others too. So it's like, wow. And last year, all I did was ministry. I did 268 services. Nothing come up that I wanted to do, or I won't. You know, I've had people say, "Well, I've got this real small." Or I'd rather go to Skid Row than do a bit. That's just me.
There you go. And then acting wise, it would have been me. I'd have been. Well, I was in a movie with Christopher Lee, so that's good enough.
Yeah,
Sir Christopher Lee. Talk about somebody we still have around, and thank God for that. He's really old school, but.
Well, yeah, Hugh O'Brien. I was at his birthday party 2 years ago, so he's still around.
See, my friend, you must be psychic. We're going to have an interview with Hugh O'Brien tonight.
As well, yeah.
Oh,
later on
really?
tonight.
Tell him Mel Novak said hello.
Unfortunately, it won't be live. It was already recorded by.
Pre-recorded, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I always liked him. He's cool, beautiful home. He lives in a beautiful home up there in Coldwater Canyon.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Way up there in the hills.
Well, we always send out copies of our shows, so if you listen a little further in the show, once you get it, and we'll send it through your agent there, that'll be part of the show tonight. You can listen to it. I guess according to Ghosty, who's the host that interviewed him, said he was surprised at his age talking about his great sex life. So, good for him.
You're kidding.
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. Well, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight, Mel. I want to encourage all of our listeners. You can actually check out Mel's website online by going to melnovak.com, and there's information over there not only about Mel's career, but also about his ministering. And Mel, thank you so much for joining us. It has been such a pleasure to chat with you.
My pleasure. I really enjoyed it. And thank you so much for having me.
Can I do this, even if it only takes a minute, because I like to do this, and I know we're running over. This is important to me. We had one of our favorites on a couple of years ago, Vanity, the actress Vanity.
Denise Matthews.
And she also preaches the word of the Lord. And sometimes people are, why do you do this? But this is why I do, because I think it's important. Can you give a little bit of a prayer for just anybody in general, or the downtrodden, or people, whoever you think deserves it, just to say something as we close here?
Oh, yes, because so many people are discouraged and they give up and they're just down and out. And my encouragement is that, Father, in Jesus' name, that you would lift each one up that's really struggling now. Infuse them from the crown of their head to the soles of their feet with the healing virtue of Jesus, by your power, by your might, and by your word, that they're healed by the stripes of Jesus. That you would strengthen them and tear down the Isaiah 9:4, I will break the chains that bind my people and whip the scourges. And whatever they're chained in, whether it's unforgiveness or bitterness or anger, that you would just let your love overload them with that your love, 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 to tear down those strongholds. We thank you and praise you and for this opportunity. And on my website, www.melnovak.com, you go to the warfare section. There's a prayer there, a warfare prayer, where you pray your spiritual armor on daily, and things will change. You just go to there and download it. It's called the Arsenal Prayer. I've given over 124,000 out.
Fantastic.
Perfect.
Yeah. And thank you for asking me to do that for everybody out there, because there's always someone who's struggling and hurting.
That's right.
And they need encourage. Yes.
That's
Absolutely.
right.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mel. We hope you have a great rest of the weekend.
Okay, you too.
All right. Bye-bye, Mel.
Talk to you again. Bye-bye.